When I was 15, I spent the summer at my grandfather's village house. He went to bed early, but I would stay up late reading in the summer kitchen until it got dark. From the kitchen, you could go out to the backyard, where there was an old hayloft and, long ago, cows used to live. Every evening, around the same time, I would hear knocking sounds coming from the yard. I believe it was a house spirit trying to get me to go to bed. In my childhood, I was often plagued by nightmares, especially until I was about 9. Nearly all my scary dreams were related to the apartment where my mother and I lived at that time. Occasionally, I would dream of a witch guarding me in a dark room, a living room filled with dead mice, or someone trying to drag me under the bed. Sometimes, while awake, I would smell a sweet and musty odor in the small corridor between 2 rooms and the storage closet, like the scent of an old, dusty book or old age. One night, I had the scariest dream of my childhood. I dreamed I wanted water in the middle of the night and went to the kitchen. As I walked, I heard someone quietly clinking metal objects, getting louder with each step. When I reached the kitchen, I saw an old, bent woman in a worn out robe, clanging 2 frying pans together. She turned to look at me with bulging eyes. Her short, tousled hair was tied with a dozen colorful children's hair ties, sticking out in all directions. I woke up in terror and decided to check. I grabbed a flashlight and went to the kitchen. Of course, there was no old woman there, but a frying pan suddenly fell from the top kitchen shelf next to me with a clang. A couple of years later, we moved to a different place because my mother wanted to be closer to the family. By then, I was older, and at about 12, I decided to visit our old neighborhood to catch up with my childhood friends. I also chatted with the old ladies by the entrance and asked who had lived in our apartment before us. To my horror, I learned that a lonely woman with schizophrenia had lived there before us. She died in her 50s, and the cause of death was unknown. They found her in the same spot where I used to smell the sweet, musty odor. And, as they said, she dressed exactly like the terrifying woman from my dream.